On August 3, 1923 in Asyut, Nazir Gayed was born. He grew up to be a high school English and social studies teacher in 1947. Very active at church, he will teach at Sunday school and do other services at St. Anthony's Church in Shobra and St. Mary's Church in Mahmasha. On July 18, 1954, His Holiness chose to take the example of St. Anthony the Great and become a monk. His name was now Father Antonios El Soriani. He lived 11 kilometers away from the monastery in a cave for 6 years, and during this time he wrote a lot of books. In 1962, he was ordained as bishop by Pope Carlos. 9 years after he was ordained as a bishop, he was then ordained as Pope Shenouda III, the 117th Pope of Alexandria, on November 14, 1971. One of the most remarkable things that Pope Shenouda accomplished was growing the Church worldwide. Throughout his journey as a Pope, His Holiness managed to introduce the Coptic faith around the whole world. When Pope Shenouda was just ordained, there were only 7 Coptic churches outside of Egypt. Now, there are over 600 Coptic churches in the world. When he went on his longest tour, which took place from August to December in 1989, he visited all the Coptic churches in Europe, USA, Canada, and Australia. During this trip, he laid down foundation stones for new churches, established Coptic schools, including our school, St. Mark's College, ordained hundreds of deacons, baptized hundreds of children, consecrated altars, opened a theological seminary, and gave many sermons for a range of all ages. He was the very first person ever to establish Coptic monasteries outside of Egypt, most of them named St. Anthony because of his connection with St. Anthony the Great. He mainly implemented his teachings to the youth. He loved the youth so much that he said, "A church without a youth is a church without a future." Moreover, a youth without a church is a youth without a future. To help the youth, he delivered sermons and wrote books about all sorts of subjects. Pope Shenouda ordained the bishopric of youth, Amba Musa. He is the first bishop for the youth. This was introduced by Pope Shenouda, as there was never a bishopric for youth in all Christian history. His Holiness wrote over 100 books on a variety of subjects, and over half of them been translated into other languages for different youths all around the world. In 1975, his first published book, called The Release of the Spirit, was in store of the church libraries, and ever since then, all his books were being published and translated for youth and people of all other ages. He also gave very special attention to the service of women in the Coptic Orthodox Church. His Holiness said, "We felt a great need of the work of women, and we wanted women to have a certain order and service in the church. Not only to have girls as Sunday school teachers who give a part of their time whenever they can, but we want girls and women to give their whole life to God and serve the church." This inspired many young women to do more services in the church, and some gave their whole life to God and became nuns. His Holiness Pope Shenouda was the first ever Pope to conduct and to organize weekly spiritual meetings and sermons, which inspired so many people in different ways. Each meeting had approximately 7,000 people who attended at the Cathedral of St. Mark in Cairo. Even though he had so many responsibilities, His Holiness still managed to spend 3 days a week at the monastery. With all that he has done, continuing the work of Pope Carlos, he has left the youth to continue his mission of preaching, spreading the word of God to all, helping the generations of youth to come, and to keep on growing our church community. To keep growing our community, it is really important for the young youth to inherit about who started these changes and how we should continue in order to allow the expression of the Coptic faith to grow. The impact that Pope Shenouda has done overall to help expand the Coptic Orthodox faith and all his contributions used to express that faith is clearly seen throughout the whole world. He was loved by all, and on March 17, 2012, he passed away and was laid on his chair at St. Mark's Cathedral in Cairo for all to take his blessings. Thousands of Christians and Muslims attended his funeral crying. This day was very, very sad and upsetting day for all,